Throughout the first century, Malaga enjoyed notable economic and social development as the process of Romanization was culminating. It would receive the Lex Flavia Malatitana from Vespasiano, which granted it the full status of city in the empire. Standing on Alcazaba Hill, the Roman theatre from the Augustan age would reach its heyday as a focal point for disseminating Roman values. It is no accident then that it was constructed on the primitive site of Fino Punic, Malaga. Following the model of the metropolis, the theatre was one of the city's outstanding buildings, along with other civic and administrative constructions that were located at the Forum or in the vicinity. The didactic function of town planning in the case of the theatre could be seen from the very approaches to the enclosure, making the established social hierarchy clear. Constructed along a vaulted passage leading to the noble zone, the Aditus Maximus served as an entrance to aristocracy and illustrious persons. The majority of the population had to use the vomitaria. The passage to these was constructed through a terraced street on the hillside. The highest part of the roads, or summa cavia, crowned by a truss structure, housed women, slaves, and the poorest. The theatre could be covered through a system of drop-down awnings, providing spectators with protection from the elements. The majority of the public would sit in the median cavia, below the summa cavia, and were shown to their seats by an usher. The seating in the lower rows, called Ema cavia, that surrounded the arch of the orchestra, was allocated to members of the local aristocracy, as well as those of the equestrian order. There was a structure at each end of the rows, consisting of a platform reserved for the use of women belonging to important families, who would logically not share the summa cavia space as the rest of their gender had to. The orchestra was separated from the cavia by the battles. The semicircular space, paved with magnificent flagstones, was occupied by notable members of society, magistrates, and honoured guests, all accommodated on folding seats. In front of the auditorium was the stage, which was a rectangular space decorated with rich, colourful marble. At the edge of the stage was the backdrop, comprising a mobile canvas that fell at the start of the show, rose at the end, and was moved by a pulley and counterweight mechanism. At the back, the stage front, by way of a monumental facade, richly decorated, erected with superimposed borders, at which, in accordance with the architectural canon of Vitruvius, 3 doors open: the Valva Regia, central door, and 2 Valvae Hospitalia flanking it. The functionality of the vertical complex was twofold. On the one hand, it acted as a voice amplifier, and on the other, it framed the scene majestically for the different events it held. Not only theatre events, but also propaganda and political events. Thus, the elite found the opportunity to acquire public legitimacy through patronage, helping to sustain the enclosure and the activities held therein, which was evident in different ornamental elements. I, Aristocles, free person and Malaga, and my wife, Pompea Vorgilia, give 4 columns with their fenestrals, because the people have asked us to. In the beginning, however, theatrical representations formed part of the public games held in honor of the gods, and was civic-religious in nature, until the theatre gradually offered new possibilities. Greek in inspiration, Roman theatre ended up developing its own forms. Plautus or Terentia cultivated comedy in different ways, while Seneca developed tragedy with scant acceptance. Until the imperial period, theatre was a minority spectacle. Nevertheless, from that time, mime and pantomime were hugely popular. Lacking text, both genres facilitated the public's understanding, and the people accepted the local risque arguments represented by the actors. Neither actors nor authors had much social standing. The former, in particular, were organized into companies and were either deemed slaves or freemen under the orders of a dominus or master. In any case, theatre representation became an essential element of Roman leisure. But throughout the 3rd century, theatre fell into disuse to such an extent that the space was occupied for industrial use. The salting factory installed there supplied the Roman world with valuable products during the 4th century and part of the 5th century.
Gracias. Just get room and get outside because you've got to start with. Basically. It's a school.
Stay there.
Read those.
It might be, yeah, because it's a bit this is sort of quite.
Foto, sí.